Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can catch a flight from Fort Lauderdale to be out there for that. So anyway.
Is that where you are right now, Fort Lauderdale?
Yes, I am in the cruise capital of the world, and happy to be here. It's a great. These are Sundays. The weekends are the best days down here, just for all the cruise passengers that come to really go experience the different islands of the Caribbean. But and really when we talk about, as you mentioned at the beginning, home port cruising, there are so many options, and the cruise industry has evolved over the years. But what we mean by home port cruising is that there are ports in the U.S. that have ships that sail from them. So, of course, on the West Coast, you have Los Angeles as a big hub there. But Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Galveston, Texas, New Orleans. And in the Northeast sector, you have New York, Boston. So there's a lot of other smaller port cities around the U.S., but a lot of people just don't know there are so many options that they can choose to cruise from and experience different islands, whether it be the Caribbean, whether it be Bermuda, or even Canada, New England, for that matter.
Now, Drew, ships do have to make their way to another country at some point on the itinerary, right? Unless they're registered in the United States, the law is that they have to hit up another country. That's typically why you always see a stopover in Vancouver, for instance, on the way up to Alaska.
You are absolutely right. Yes, indeed. And there's there's only one. There is in the Hawaii itinerary. Norwegian Cruise Lines, because their ship is registered in the U.S., they can do the Hawaiian Islands. But more often than not, you have to, just because of the law. And that's why a very popular from Los Angeles is to go visiting Ensenada, Mexico.
Right.
I think some of you may have done that in your years cruising out there. So,
yes. In fact, I was so excited recently to see more California-based cruising itineraries. And you're right, they do swing down to Ensenada just past the border to satisfy that one condition. But when I lived in San Francisco, there very rarely would you see a really large cruise ship like you see on a daily basis there in Florida. Very rarely would you see a large cruise ship in the bay. But after 9/11, that started to change because people were a little skittish about flying overseas and that sort of thing. And so we saw people staying closer to home. Did that trend stick with us? Did it stay?
It definitely did, and it started slowly even prior to 9/11, but you're absolutely right. And people just didn't want the hassle of getting on an airplane. They wanted to have the opportunity to drive and visit even local, even if it's a 5-hour drive from where they live, they get to stop at other U.S. cities along their way and get to experience the U.S. and then from there go on a cruise. So I think we've seen, and one of the things we've seen as a trend within the California coastline are these West Coast getaway cruises, these short stints that go up and down the Pacific coastal, and they're throughout different parts of the year. There may be 1-day to 3-day cruises. They're called Pacific Coastal Getaways, and it's a great way for someone who's never cruised before to test the water, so to speak, and really get to understand the concept of cruising. And 85% of the U.S. population has never cruised, so they have no idea what to expect. So.
Well, Patty and I have cruised together, and we'll tell you we know what to expect a lot.
Now, that's interesting, these short little stints that you're talking about, which I think is great, because some people feel a little intimidated to think, oh, if I don't like it and I'm on a 5-day cruise, then I'm stuck. But, when we were on our cruise together, Drew, Randall and I met people who were living a cruise life. They just went from ship to ship. That was their retirement.
Oh, and there are people, you're absolutely right, it's amazing to me, that have been on one ship because they just love the product, and they do the same itinerary, but it's just their ship becomes their home, and they do it week after, for 6 months at a time. And then, of course, they have the World Cruises segment, so if you have the wherewithal that you can do that type of a journey for 6 months, I mean, let's face it, all of us have that expendable income or time. However, it's something to aspire to for us.
Yeah, and then I guess you just arrange with your family, hey, we're going to be in Istanbul on this day, so make sure you fly to come see us, and then we'll be in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, and you know what else, though? Let's face it, technology is such a great, we're so privileged to live in this day and age with the technology, and people on board ships, they can still stay connected. They can be on their mobile devices, whether it's their iPads or whatever device they have, their phones, and they really can stay connected. People actually are running their businesses from cruise ships.
And the prices have come down.
What are we doing wrong?
I know.
I know, that's what I'm trying to say.
Initially, it was just a complete arm and a leg to use your cell phone or your laptop on a cruise line, but I've noticed that those prices have come down in recent years because of the technology, right?
And the customer demand, too.
Yeah.
It is, absolutely. And, you know, another thing, too, just for everyone out there that's never taken the option of going on a cruise, I know that there's a lot of options out there. It can be complex in terms of what to expect, but you really can experience a 7-day cruise not that far from even the West Coast for as low as $500 a person, and that includes all your meals, your accommodations, your Las Vegas-style shows. I mean, it really is a great inclusive option for someone who just is tired of staying at a hotel.
Do you get a better deal when it comes to cruises if you wait until the last minute? Is there like a sweet spot like there is with the airlines?
No, actually, it's the reverse of that. You get the better deal the farther away that you do book. So
good to know.
And it just depends on the value adds that are out there. The cruise lines are great at providing different promotional options too.
Right.
So.
All right, Drew Daly with both Cruise One and Cruises Inc. We have links at eatdrinkexplore.com for the deals that they've got, and we will hear from Drew again in 3 months' time. So, Drew, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks or so with that other project we're working on.
All right, sounds good. Thanks again for the opportunity, and if anybody wants to explore more, they can certainly visit cruiseone.com. We have franchises in California that can assist in their planning their next cruise.
I love it. Thank you, Drew.
Have a great day. Take care.